offensive line coach Bart Miller. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well.
A lot of excitement getting ready for game one.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only is it game one, but it's a game against an opponent that I used to work at and certainly have a lot of respect for. So it's a big game for us, big game for our program, and excited to get out and see our guys play.
What have you seen from their defense on film that kind of jumps out at you?
Well, they're very sound and they're very well coached. They play incredibly hard. They finish. They're tough. All that stuff. They're hard to move. All that shows up on film and continues to show up on film. They do a lot of really good things, and they do them very well. And they've had a lot of success on defense. They've been very productive. Especially those linebackers, right? And guys like Logan Wilson, Chad Muma, and those guys are graduated, but Easton Gibbs is up there now and playing really good football. And so there's a lot of really good players, on that side, and then obviously they're well coached. So it's gonna be a battle.
What do they do with their front? Do they show you different looks, or are they just strictly?
There's a lot of movement.
4-3?
Yeah, a lot of movement, and certainly expect that to continue. They do a lot of things to try to free up their linebackers to play, and so they're very sound in what they do, and it's going to be a good challenge.
Your group is bigger this year,
Yeah,
a little bit. How are they looking this week, getting ready for the first game, and as a group?
Things are progressing nicely. They're starting to develop some continuity and some consistency. Obviously, we had some rotation during camp and some competition during camp, but we're starting to solidify where guys are and that starting group, and certainly guys are going to work into that rotation as well. So we're excited about where we're headed. But in my opinion, I'm never satisfied. We're always trying to get better, trying to improve, and every day we have to do that, right? I thought, yesterday, we came out and kind of had a day maybe that wasn't up to my standard and our standard, and then today I thought we came out and certainly practiced harder and better, and liked some of the things I saw, and we got some work to do. We got to clean some things up, but we're progressing nicely, and I'm excited to watch them play.
Does Wyoming throw a lot of blitz packages at you or anything like that?
Certainly have the capability of that, and certainly can, and they do some pretty elaborate things in certain situations, and then they play some just really sound football in others, right? So they certainly present their wide range of challenges, and we're going to have our work cut out for them. We've been preparing for them for a long time. Where I guarantee you, we're not overlooking them. They're a good football team, and it's going to be a well fought game, and the team that makes the least amount of mistakes and plays the most fundamentally sound. Those are the teams that are going to have the chance to win every Saturday. So that's our goal: is to go play tough, smart, dependable, and really. Come out and play our game and see what we can do.
I know your group is going to be big and physical, but how are they looking with getting to the second tier and executing the stretch blocks, the double?
Sure. Well, I mean that's kind of the basis of what we do, and our combinations. Guys have to be able to play at the second level. We got to be able to move our feet. We got to be able to change the line of scrimmage. We got to be able to pass protect. We got to be able to play sound, fundamental offensive football. And so, I think we're progressing nicely in a lot of these areas, but it's always going to be a work in progress. I mean, that's why you practice. That's why you go through individual drills and continue to challenge each other and push the guys and work on specific looks, unique looks to your opponent, but also get better at our fundamentals, and that's what we need to go out and do, is play our fundamentals and obviously be prepared for what Wyoming's going to present us. So things are they're coming along nicely in that area. Yeah.
I think your line would look a lot different if it wasn't for going to the JUCO ranks to recruit a couple of kids. You'd be a lot younger for one, but
yeah.
What have Isaiah and Zai added to the group?
Well, they're both just tremendous assets to the room, and they're not only great football players, but they're really good men, and they're hungry, they work hard, they're intelligent. They're two different style of players. Isaiah came in and was very sound fundamentally, very sound technique-wise, and Zai was a little more raw, but has a lot of natural power and a tremendous talent upside there, and different experiences, right? One came from was Canadian and had a unique path to get not only to Garden City but to Illinois, and Zai obviously spent just 1 year at junior college and came to us. So different paths, but guys that are fitting really well with the room. I think they're close with the guys, but they're a joy to coach. They really are, and they're very good football players. I'm excited to see what they do this year and continue to develop.
I know you'd rather not play true freshmen on the offensive line. It's pretty tough, but are there any that are in the two deep, or if something happens with somebody else that they're ready to go? Or?
Well, all those young guys are, they always got to be ready to go. The young guys are working on, developing right now as Big Ten offensive linemen, but there is certainly talent there. There's a good foundational base, and, excited about the future for those guys. Yeah.
Talking about Isaiah yesterday, he said he sort of had always envisioned himself maybe as being pretty good at guard, even though it's a spot he hadn't really played before. What do you like about him in that position?
Well, that's a good question because he was actually recruited to play tackle, and is perfectly capable tackle. In fact, he spent most of the spring at tackle position, right? But we want to get our best 5 on the field, and we felt like he gave you enough versatility and enough athleticism. The stuff we do with our guards requires a tremendous amount of athleticism. So we felt like he was able to do that, and his knowledge base, his football IQ, his experience, his fundamentals, that all allowed us to move that position, right? As opposed to maybe moving a guy like Palcho or Julian that has a lot of equity stored up into tackle. So that gave us kind of the versatility that he offers, gave us that ability to move him, and certainly he's had a tremendous fall, just like he had a tremendous spring.
I mean, you only moved one spot over in the line, but how big a difference is that? Just going like 3 feet to his right.
It's quite a difference. It's quite a difference. Fundamentally, things happen a lot quicker, right? Things happen a lot quicker. We got a D lineman number 4 who's, Isaiah's able to move him around pretty well when he moves in there. So that's kind of fun to see. But no, things happen pretty quickly in there, and it's a different type of block, right? He's much more, isolated at times in the run game than he would be maybe at the tackle position and things like that. So, but he pulls very well, he moves very well, gets cutoffs very well. So it is certainly a different position, especially in the pass pro. I was just kidding about that on number 4, by the way. So don't put that out there.
I mean, you talk about how getting your best 5 out there, but what's the number you like to have for just in case? Like,
we needed 8 last year, and everywhere I've been, we've always probably needed 7 or 8 guys to play at some point during the year. Whether that's a broken shoelace one time, or maybe a guy gets rolled up, or God forbid a more serious injury. So, you'd like to have. 2 deep that you trust, but realistically, 7, 8 guys that you feel comfortable with going into that game.
You feel like you have your 7 or 8?
We're getting there. Yeah.
And along those lines, it seems like Jordan Slaughter's versatility is probably pretty useful for you as that sixth guy. Yes.
Yeah. Jordan obviously, is a guy that can. I mean, you'll see him at right guard and you'll see him at left guard, and he's a very good player that's been through a lot and really has developed and continued to grow, gotten stronger. He's returned from his injury nicely, and I'm excited about what he's going to offer this year. Yeah, absolutely.
Pilstrom never played center before until this year. How's he looking?
He's looking good. He's getting better and better, and I think both those guys, him and Kreutz, he's having that competition there. I think he's made them both better. And, you got young guys coming in that can snap too. Dylan Davis and Joey Okla, Sam Segalis, like they all are young freshman centers, younger guys centers that are continue to develop as well. But Pills had a good fall camp, continued to get better over the summer, and we're excited what he can do. And same way with Kreutz, both those guys have really had a nice camp.
With who's stepped up as a leader of the group? Alex, I would assume.
Well, Palcho's our captain of the team, and so with that comes the responsibility to be kind of captain of that room as well. But I would tell you that all those guys offer some measure of leadership, right? Isaiah Adams was voted by his teammates to be part of the Illini Council after one spring semester, so that tells you a little bit about his leadership qualities. The center always has command up there when you're out there on the field, so. Pilstrom has to have some leadership. Kreutz has to have some leadership. All those guys, have to show some semblance of that. So the O-line leads the way, and that's we take a lot of pride in that.
You got asked about Isaiah Adams already, but kind of how is he looking at it? What's his role for Saturday, to be honest?
Well, Isaiah Adams is a fantastic player. We're excited about him. He's playing guard for us right now, but certainly has the ability to play tackle and repped all spring at tackle. So he was recruited to be a tackle, but he's a very versatile player. So his ability to play really 4 of the 5 positions is pretty remarkable, and I'm not so sure he couldn't just go into center if we really needed him to. But no, he's a 4 of the 5, and just the upside with him is tremendous. He comes in is very fundamentally sound and technically sound, and is a tremendous person. He's a joy to coach every day.
Is he, so in terms of what you thought when you got him, is he like up here compared to maybe where you thought he would
Well, when we first went and started the evaluation process with him, we were kind of intrigued by the film, but we had some questions still, and went out and watched him practice and watched him play and really dove deep into our evaluation of him, and after a very thorough search across the country, we continued to come back as he was maybe the best defense or offensive lineman JUCO prospect we had seen live, and then got to develop a relationship with him and really liked what we were potentially had the chance to get on our team, and so developed a great relationship with him, and brought him out for a visit, and just everything about the process was enjoyable. He's a first-rate person. He comes from a great family, and you can tell he was raised very well. He's got discipline to attack things. He's very self-critical, and he works very hard of him to improve himself. So he's been a joy to coach, and I would say, not to just put undue pressure on him, but we've been very pleased with everything that he's done, and I'm excited to see where he continues to go.
Could he surprise teams you're playing this year because they haven't seen him with you? Yeah, they haven't seen him with JC, but not.
Sure, I think there's probably a lot of guys that fit in that world. Isaiah, I think Zai Chrysler does too. I think Pilstrom, nobody's seen Pilstrom at center before, and really no one's seen Julian at left tackle before, right? They've seen him on the right side. So we've got a little bit of a different look than we had in the past, but they are developing some continuity. Jordan Slaughter's back. We've seen him in the last year or so play anyway. So there's some continuity brewing, which is nice. It's fun to see. They're working well together. But we have a long way to go to get to where we hold our standard to and where we want to go. So every day, that's kind of my message to them is not letting them settle. Let's continue to climb and get better, because there's things we obviously still have to improve upon.
So it seems like everybody's always looking for that perfect profile for a left tackle, the length and ability to move and all that. Does Julian check all those boxes for you?
Physically, yes, he does, and not to take away anything from him mentally, because he's a very sharp football player, but just getting more experience there, I think, is big. Coach said it perfectly a couple of weeks ago. I think he interviewed him and said that Julian, the only way that can stop Julian is Julian, right? And from an athletic standpoint, that's probably true. I mean, he's incredibly gifted. He's very talented. He's got the measurables, and he had a good fall camp, a very good fall camp after I really challenged him, I think, early in the summer. So I'm excited where he's headed. But again, like Isaiah, like Pilstrom, even like Palcho right there, and Zai and Jordan right there now, recruits, he fits into this as well. They're not anywhere close to where we can be, and that I think is the exciting part. Is we got to keep building and keep getting better, because they do have a chance to be a very good unit. But we have a long way to go to continue to perfect that. So that's our mission. That's our focus right now, is to try to continue to get better every day, and they're doing that.
You don't really know what you got until you put them on the field against an opponent, right? So
that's right.
What kind of keeps coaches up at night before their first game? What do you worry about?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of things probably keep me up. I would say I want our guys to go out and play well, and I trust their training. I trust their preparation and development, and want to go out there and execute the way we're capable of. And I think if we can do that, we'll be pleased with, I think, the product we put out there, and we'll be pleased with their performance. So and then me personally, a number of things run through my head during the course of the week, and then I start to kind of narrow my focus as I get closer and closer to game day. I think that's the message that we send to our guys too. So to lock back in.
Yep. Last year, you were kind of a little cycling on
Yeah.
the line early on. Is that something you want to do again, or would you prefer to go in that knowing what the five are? Is there a philosophical element?
I'd like to kind of narrow it down a little bit. Now, sometimes you're kind of forced into a role where that has to happen. Where you got to play some different guys, and some guys deserve a chance to play. But in terms of a competition, that's pretty well narrowed down, pretty well focused down to the guys that we know are going to be our guys this year. Whereas last year, I'm not sure that had really happened. I think there was a little bit more fluidity there, because we'd gotten a guy like Jack Badovinac kind of late in the process and stuff like that. So there was some of that, but we're looking forward to building some continuity with this group.